down, day 3 of the 2026 draft, and the Bears just made a selection at pick 89 that has half the football world grabbing their heads and the other half telling you that you are an idiot if you do not understand it. Sports Illustrated gave it a D, but NFL.com says B+. And I have a very strong opinion about this that you are not going to like if you are one of the people who already buried this pick. But listen to me carefully, because this selection does not exist in a vacuum. This is the third consecutive offensive pick. 3 consecutive, while the edge rush of the monsters of the Midway is still an unanswered question. And before you process that, there is a center out of Iowa who converted from defensive tackle, who understands both sides of the trenches better than almost any player in this draft, and whose fit in Ben Johnson's scheme makes more sense than the critics want to admit. And at the end of all of this, the Windy City made a quiet move with Carolina that ended up bringing in a corner out of Texas who played his best football against Ohio State and Oklahoma, who already named Al Harris as his mentor, and who, in the modern NFL defense, can do things that very few people at Halas Hall have ever seen combined in a single player. And that completely changes the conversation about whether Ryan Poles actually knows what he is doing in this draft. You are going to understand all of that today with real arguments, no filter, pure navy and orange. If you trust the Ryan Poles process, hit that like button right now and subscribe to join the real Bear Nation. Bear down. The Bears grabbed Xavian Thomas out of LSU with the 89th overall pick, wide receiver, 428 in the 40. That is otherworldly speed, fam. We are talking about one of the fastest human beings in this entire draft class, and this is where the debate starts, because I need y'all to tell me in the comments what you think, because this whole thing is absolutely wild. The national media went completely crazy over this pick, but not in a good way. Sports Illustrated gave it a D-. Bleacher Report, also a D. CBS Sports, Yahoo, The Athletic, Sporting News, all landing somewhere between a C and a C+. The consensus across the board was basically this: the Bears reached way too far for a player that most scouts had projected as a 7th-round selection. But hold on, NFL.com gave it a B+, SB Nation gave it a B, Bears Wire gave it a B-, and me, I'm somewhere in the middle, but let me give you my real take. First, the context. This is the 3rd consecutive offensive pick. Before Thomas, the Bears took Logan Jones, a center out of Iowa, in the 2nd round, and before that, another offensive pick in round 3, and the whole time this is happening, still no edge rusher, still no edge rusher. Matt Verderame at Sports Illustrated put it bluntly: the Bears have needs on the defensive side, including edge rusher, and this is their 3rd consecutive pick on offense. A wide receiver who caught 19 passes for 99 yards last season, 19 receptions in his final college year. And here's my argument in defense of this pick, because we got to be honest, bro, 428. You cannot coach that speed ever. That is an open field weapon. That is what blows up a defense vertically when you have Caleb Williams launching the football downfield, and Ben Johnson knows exactly what he is doing. The Athletic noted that Thomas projects best as a return man and gadget role player. CBS Sports said it straight up, and I quote, "I think we've reached the draft-to-kick returner portion of the day, but his 428 speed will be put to good use in Ben Johnson's offense." Now, let's look at the full receiver room picture. You've got Rome Odunze, you've got Luther Burden III, and now you've got Thomas. With Khalif Raymond entering the final year of his contract, Thomas could literally be his replacement as both the WR3 and the return specialist. That makes strategic sense, Windy City, but the real question I need you to answer down in the comments is this: can the Bears win a Super Bowl without an elite edge rusher? Because if the answer is no, then 3 consecutive offensive picks, while the defensive end position remains unsolved, is a genuine red flag. Look, I could be wrong about this, but the feeling I'm left with is clear. Ben Johnson has absolute faith that his offensive system can win with Caleb Williams, and he is building a collection of speed and versatility around him. The question is not whether Thomas can contribute. The question is whether the Bears are prioritizing correctly inside this win now window. Tell me down below. Navy and orange, what do y'all think? And while we are all processing that pick, let's have a real conversation about Logan Jones, because this pick has some genuinely strong arguments, even if it also sparks debate. When Drew Dalman retired out of nowhere, a Pro Bowl center, keep it a buck, the Bears moved fast They traded for Garrett Bradbury from New England. Smart short-term move, but Bradbury is a free agent after 2026, so the Bears needed a long-term answer at center, and they found it in the second round with Jones out of Iowa. This guy's different, fam. 4-year starter at Iowa, 51 games started, unanimous All-American in 2025, and he got there by converting from defensive tackle, which means he understands both sides of the line of scrimmage at a level most centers in this draft simply cannot match. But what excites me most, and what clearly excited the Bears staff, is this. Jones comes from an outside zone system at Iowa, and Ben Johnson loves running outside zone. It is the foundation of his run game philosophy. Hollis Hall's own Trey Kosiol described Jones as mature, composed, and with football intelligence that genuinely stood out, and Jones himself said something I loved. He said Ben Johnson puts a lot on the plate of the center, and that he is excited about that challenge, that it is going to be a lot of fun. 4.90 in the 40 for a center, man. That is athletic. That helps you in the outside zone game where the center has to reach linebackers in space. The only real objection here is the same one we keep coming back to. You spent your only second-round pick on a center, while the edge rush position still has no long-term answer. Was that the best use of that pick? Depending on how the roster looks come September, that question's going to have very different answers. And to close out the day, the Bears executed a quick trade with Carolina, essentially a pick swap between the 4th and 5th rounds, and used pick 124 to move up 5 spots and grab Malik Muhammad. Cornerback out of Texas, 6 foot, 182 pounds, 442 in the 40, 97 tackles, 3 interceptions, 16 pass breakups over 3 seasons with the Longhorns. What I like about this pick is simple. This is a corner who played his best football on the biggest stages. 2 interceptions against Oklahoma in the Red River rivalry. His best game of the season came against Ohio State. The Bears want competitive players with big game mentality, and Muhammad fits that mold. And the connection to Al Harris, the defensive backs coach who last year led Day Bears to the top of the NFL with 33 takeaways and 23 interceptions, is very real. Muhammad already talked about Harris with genuine excitement. He also mentioned Peanut Tillman as his combine chaperone and named Jaylon Johnson as one of the corners he studies on film. That is the kind of player who integrates into a culture immediately. Muhammad himself said he is not just a corner. He said he can play nickel, he can blitz, he can play man, he can play zone. A hybrid safety in everything but the name tag. And in today's NFL, that versatility has real value. Quick debate before we wrap. How many corners do the Bears need before they address the edge rush? That is the question of the day, and I need your answer right now down in the comments. The draft is not over. There are still picks on the table, and if Ryan Poles comes out in rounds 5, 6, and 7 with an edge rusher nobody saw coming, then this entire conversation flips completely. But right now, the story of day 3 is this. The Bears are building around Caleb Williams with a very clear philosophy: speed, versatility, and football intelligence. Whether that is enough to compete at the top of the NFC North, we will find out when September hits. Tell me down below, was the Xavian Thomas pick a steal or an inexplicable reach? And when is Poles going to fix the edge rush? I want that debate in the comments right now. If this video gave you something to talk about, you already know what to do. Hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one. Bear down, Chicago.